After miracle plays, morality plays, came the interlude. The interlude was a late product of the dramatic development of the morality play. It was a short, dramatic piece of a satiric rather than of religious or moral nature, and in tone and purpose, it was far less serious than the morality. This form developed early in the 16th century and is rather closely associated with the name of John Haywood. The time period of John Haywood is 1497 to 1580, who for a time was the court musician and general provider of entertainment to Henry VIII. Uh, his famous work is Four Ps, a dialogue in which a palmer, a pardoner, apothecary, and a paddler exchange racy stories and finally enter into competition as to which of them can tell the biggest lie. It is the most amusing specimen of its class. The interludes were often acted by the household servants of lords and are important as developing the custom of a nobleman of wealth having a band of more or less well trained actors dependent on him. In the later part of Elizabethan's rule, when the drama proper was full grown, we find theatrical companies calling themselves the Earl of Leicester's servant, the Queen's players, and so on. These early experiments in playwriting are of great importance historically because they did much to prepare the way for the regular drama. It was, however, under direct influence of the Renaissance. The term Renaissance means the revival of learning. We shall discuss this term in detail some other day. So, it was under this direct influence of the Renaissance that English comedy and tragedy alike passed out of these preliminary phases of their development into forms of art. Men went back to the classics for inspiration and example in the drama as in other fields of literary enterprise, though it was the work of the Latin, not of Greek playwrights, that they took as their models. At first, the comedies of Plautus and Terence and the tragedies of Seneca were themselves acted at the universities and on special occasions elsewhere. Then came Latin imitations, and in due course, these were followed by attempts to fashion English plays. And the pattern was upon that of the originals. In such attempts, English writers learned many valuable lessons in the principles of dramatic construction and technique. So, the first real English comedy is Royster Doyster, Roister, Doyster, Doister. It was written in 1550 by Nicholas Udall, headmaster of Eton. For he wrote this for performance by his schoolboys. So this comedy has 5 acts in the Latin style, and it deals in an entertaining manner with the wooing of Dame Constance by the vainglorious hero, his various misadventures, and the pranks of Matthew Merry Greek, who is the jester. Though greatly indebted to Plautus and Terence, it shows the influence of the older humors of the miracle plays and the moralities. The first real English tragedy is Gorboduc, Gorboduc. It reproduces the form and spirit of Senecan tragedy. It was written by Thomas Sackville and Thomas Norton in 1561 for representation before members of the inner temple at their Christmas festivities. So, this first English tragedy was the first English play to use blank verse, which had been introduced into English poetry only a few years ago before. We'll talk about blank verse and Renaissance along with Reformation and humanism. These are some terms that we are going to discuss in detail some other day. So let us talk a bit about Shakespeare's predecessors. The quarter century or so which followed the production of Gorboduc was a period of vast experimentation in the English drama. There was a conflict between those who insisted on the classical tradition and those who wanted to cater to the strong national taste of the English public. In the end, the national taste won, and just before Shakespeare began his career as playwright, the romantic form of drama, which was distinguished from the classical type, was definitely established. The establishment of this romantic drama was the achievement of Shakespeare's immediate predecessors, and who was a these predecessors had a group of university men, commonly known as the university wits. They included John Lilly, Thomas Kidd, George Peele, Robert Greene, Christopher Marlowe, and Thomas Nash. Of these, John Lilly and Christopher Marlowe possess a great significance and they exerted a direct influence upon Shakespeare. John Lilly's dramatic work consists of 8 comedies, of which the best are Compaspe, Endymion, and Galanthea. Their interest depends not on plot or characterization, but on language, wit, ingenuity, and grace of the dialogue. Lilly helped to give comedy an intellectual tone. In his skill in repartee, puns, conceits, and all sorts of verbal fireworks, he anticipated Shakespeare, whose early comedies such as Love's Labour Lost, A Midsummer Night's Dream owe much to his example. In comedy, Lilly was undeniably Shakespeare's first master. Christopher Marlowe's historical importance is even greater. A man of fiery imagination and immense powers, he lived a wild bohemian life. While still young, he was killed in a drunken fight. Um, some of his famous plays, Tamburlaine the Great, Dr. Faustus, and The Jew of Malta, despite their bombast and extravagance, they fixed the type of tragedy and chronicle play for his immediate successors. Christopher Marlowe used blank verse in these plays with great success. In fact, before Marlowe, there was neither genuine blank verse nor a genuine tragedy in the English language. Marlowe created the modern tragic drama. After his arrival, the way was prepared and the paths were made straight for Shakespeare's early blank verse is fashioned on Marlowe's. Shakespeare's narrative poem Venus and Adonis is to some extent inspired by Marlowe's Hero and Leander. Shakespeare's Richard III and Richard II. These plays are clearly based on the model of the chronicle play provided in Marlowe's Edward II. Even Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice owes something to Marlowe's play The Jew of Malta.